All right, my top 3 tips for improving at jiu-jitsu and going from white belt to black belt. That's this week's question of the week. I'm al-Aziz, the owner and head instructor of Semper Fortis Jiu Jitsu here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm here to tackle this question. So, the number 1 tip that I would give a new student that starts jiu-jitsu, or even a student that's been doing it for a while, is number 1, show up to class on time. Like, there's a class that's set up, there's an instruction plan, and if you're late, you're gonna miss stuff. Now at my school, you can show up, there's 5 minutes left in class, I'll allow you in the class, and I'll help you the best I can, but I can't make up for the 55 minutes that you missed, Or, people, like, I've got students, they never show up on time. They're just always late. And I don't feel obligated to say, oh, let me catch you up on everything you missed, because you're gonna miss key details, and I'm obligated to the students that did show up on time, to continue to teach them. And that's sort of like their reward for you showed up to class on time. But like I said, I'll allow people to come in, they can come in late. And some people, they come in late every single time. It's like, okay. But if you're late, you're missing stuff. So take that for what it's worth. Be on time. Probably my only pet peeve for the school is when somebody is on the 14-day free trial, because I give all new students 14-day free trial. And during that free trial, I loan them a uniform for every class. I take it home, I wash it, bring it in. And it's like, if you show up late and you need to borrow one of my uniforms, now I have to stop teaching, stop monitoring the class to go get a uniform to fit you. I remember I had this one guy, he gave up jiu-jitsu, but he came in late, he needed a uniform, and I was in the middle of teaching, and I saw him standing there, and he had the nerve to clear his throat, as if I should stop teaching, go fit him for a uniform so he could join class. And I'm like, bro, that's not gonna happen. So, one of my C stories. Second thing that's gonna help you on your jiu-jitsu journey, it's a really simple concept, but it's breathe and relax. A lot of times we put a lot of stress on ourselves, just like, oh man, I gotta get this perfect. I've gotta remember every single thing. I've gotta execute it, and I don't want to look bad when the instructor walks around. It's like, dude, we were all white belts at one time. We were all new. We were all awkward at one time. And even today, after so many years of training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if somebody shows me a brand new technique that I've never done, man, a lot of times I'm very awkward in doing it. It's like, how does it get? I don't just magically learn it. It's like, well, I gotta work on it. And so breathe and relax. Just realize that, hey, sometimes you won't get it the first time. It may be 2 or 3 class instructions of showing you the same technique throughout your journey, maybe more, before you finally make this yours, that you can execute it in a roll. And that happens. So breathe and relax. Remember to breathe. It's really important. And then number 3, listen to your coaches. Got an old joke in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community is if at first the technique you're doing is not succeeding, then try doing it the way your coach showed you. And I know it's a little funny. Well, it's funny to me. My wife says my dad jokes aren't that funny, but to me it's funny. And that is so key. Is so many times you miss a detail, or you're like, I can just sort of do it this way and it's working for me, and you miss a key detail and you're like, this technique, it only works against the junior belts. The higher belts stifle it really easily, so it's just not a good technique. And it's like, oh no, it's a really good technique. The problem is your proficiency at the technique isn't good enough for it to work against more advanced belts. So it will only work for you against white belts or blue belts, but when you try the same thing on black belts, it's like they see it coming and they easily stifle it. So work on your proficiency of those techniques rather than trying to learn a whole bunch of stuff. And focus on the techniques that your instructors are teaching you, rather than hanging out on YouTube thinking like, oh no, there's a better and faster way, because that will really hinder you, because your instructor is able to teach you in class and watch you and help correct you through the moves. But if your instructor is trying to teach you how to do the scissor sweep and you're like, you know what, I think I like this De La Riva sweep better that I saw on YouTube from this famous jiu-jitsu practitioner, I think I'm gonna try that instead. Well, now it's hard to help you, because instead of becoming proficient at the technique that your school is teaching, you're trying to learn all kinds of other stuff, and there's nobody to help fine-tune you on that. And the irony is, the path from white belt to black belt is a well-traveled path. It's a well-proven, tried and true path, and it is a path that many of us achieved long before there was instructional videos. Like when I first started jiu-jitsu, instructional videos were really frowned upon. And there wasn't like a bunch of stuff on YouTube, and sometimes the stuff, even now, some of the stuff on YouTube is just like trash from people that they just think their jiu-jitsu works, and it's like they just show some questionable stuff. But I mean, there's some really good places to get techniques from, but just realize the best place is learn the techniques that your instructor is teaching you, and you can build off that. And that's a tried and true way. So you can go from white belt to black belt without ever watching an instructional video. It's happened for years. So it's a tried and true path. People try to cheat the system, like, oh, maybe if I watch these videos, I can get better faster. And what ends up happening is you just end up learning more techniques, and you're not very proficient at them. So those techniques rarely are going to work for you either. And then the techniques that you could have became proficient at, that your instructor in your school were teaching you, you instead worked on other stuff. And it's like, it'd be nice if you could self-teach yourself, but it's like, not everybody has that gift. So I'd say stick to the basics. Follow your instructor's guidance, and just keep showing up every day on time for class. And remember to breathe and relax. And before you know it, you're going to get really good at jiu-jitsu. And your belt will change colors from white to blue to purple to brown to black to coral to red. And your journey is going to be great. All right, that's it for this week's question of the week. Till next week, ciao.